Hey guys, my name is Daizshanae Marie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do really lifestyle videos. This video specifically is about how did we buy a house at 21 years old, and logistics, the loan that we used, how much we saved, everything that you probably have questions for as to how young people bought a house. My name is Daizshanae. I'm 21 years old and I am a part-time pharmacy technician and a full-time student. And this is...
Hi, my name is Aiden and I am a full-time student but a part-time warehouse associate. I'm currently 21 years old and as she's mentioned, we are now getting a house.
So to go into like what did we get, if you haven't seen my empty house tour, you definitely should. But we got a 4-bedroom house, 2.5 bath, and the square feet is about 1,500 square feet, and we were priced at a lucky number of
$180,000, shockingly.
A 4-bedroom house at $180,000. You're probably like, how on earth did you get that? So this neighborhood that we are in is really developing the area, so it kind of started more, we're in like the downtown area of our city, and it started more downtown and is expanding out east to renovate and build up like parks, schools, everything. So we literally got here just in time, where there's not all the houses, like there's only 5 houses in this street that is built up, renovated and everything. So we got here just in time before they would have sparked up the prices.
This is definitely one of the newest houses, at least, and like she said, we were definitely lucked out with getting this early into a developing neighborhood, because they are spreading to this suburb specifically to like add in new places, renovate streets, stuff like that.
So the next question is probably going to be as to how much did you save up for the house, because a lot of people, they say put 20% down on a house. So we started looking at the house in July and we closed on it on October. So we literally had 3 months to save for the house, and that really might cause some confusion. So our background, I've been working since I was 16 years old. I've always been saving, like I started out saving 50% of my paychecks. And not to say like I had a lot in savings. I started out making $7.25 an hour at 16. So it wasn't much, and I'm paying for school out of pocket. So, and we're talking about just the 3 months time span, I didn't save much. I probably did my standard like $300 each month of saving, but that's not enough to put that on a house. So me, I didn't save anything for the house, really.
Personally, I would say I started seriously saving probably sophomore year, so like 2 years ago, because I believe I did have a, well no, I didn't have a job my freshman year of college because I got a scholarship, and so I didn't really have to worry about it with 2 other roommates to help split my rent. But then when we lost one, I definitely didn't have enough money to split that half. So then I ended up getting a job, and so I started putting away some savings, got a retirement fund, stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say I definitely put at least 25% of a paycheck into my savings each paycheck I got. And then that built up. I kept using my scholarship money and putting it in savings. And so pretty much I was really lucky with having that. But for working, I definitely had at least like 30% saving per paycheck that I used for the house.
So with that, like that's just our history of like building up our accounts. We never, if we're talking about the 3-month time span of like, oh, we're being serious about getting a house, the thing that we only changed was just less spending. So we we didn't have food in the fridge. We had the heat off for some days, you know. We had one single light on in the entire house. Like I was being a little bit dramatic about our like cost wise, and Aiden would like definitely say I was going crazy.
No, we definitely cut a lot of costs.
And we didn't like go out to eat as much, even though we didn't have the groceries. So we were really just like if we're gonna have rice, we're gonna have rice and rice together. So it was just more of spending less rather than saving. So like in terms like you're saving more, but I don't know. We didn't really actively go out and get more like work or to save that money.
Yeah, the focus I feel like was mainly spending less than trying to work like overtime every week. So just cutting a lot of unnecessary costs that would have not helped.
The next topic is going to be how did you qualify? So it really depends on your credit history. To talk about the loan, what loan we did was the FHA loan, where it was a 30-year fixed rate at 5%. And that's not too bad. I feel like a lot of people do have better, but that's also people that are older than us, you know, probably already had like a house. I'm not exactly sure what's the best rates, and I hear that they can go up and down, but ours is a fixed rate, and we're not sparking up every single month or every single year that we're going to be here. So then with that, how did we qualify? Me, I built up my credit as soon as I turned, actually it was before I was 18. We can go, like, I can do a separate video on like credit scores and everything, but with me at like 16, 17 years old, I was like an authorized user on my parents' credit card, and them being smart and not running up their credit helped me out a lot. So as soon as I turned 18, I was already at I think I was at a 690 or like 710 when I first turned 18 for my credit score. So at 21, well, I'm gonna say at 20, because my credit went down with like applying for loans. That happens. My credit went down, so before we even like applied for a loan or anything, I was at a 790. I don't know if that's like TMI, like I don't know if I should really be telling you this, but like it's more of being transparent, like saying like you can do it too. How am I 20 years old and I have a 790 credit score, you know? So just more of like being, everybody is eligible to do this. It's more of stop gatekeeping this information. And with my experience with credit, I kind of relayed that to Aiden, and so he can tell about his, like a short clip of like his experience with credit and how like he was able to qualify, and we'll get more into details of the loan and everything.
Yeah, definitely starting as early as you can, because she definitely started a lot earlier than I did. I didn't get the first, because technically I was renting, but I was too young at the time to sign myself, so I had a parent be a co-signer off of my apartment, which doesn't help my personal credit, it would help theirs. But then I was able to get a credit card in my own name. I believe that was like sophomore year, junior year? I think it was more junior year of college.
Yeah, because you don't have a year yet, because I barely have a, well, I'm almost at 2 years, so yeah, junior year.
Like this, like the summer, fall of my junior year of school is when I got my first one, and then I built that up, and that caused me to have an actual credit now. And then I was able to receive a second credit card, because having multiple accounts also helps build up your credit, and just showing that you can manage multiple accounts. And so mine ended up in like the at first it was like I think I started out at a 770 actually, which was really shocking. I don't even think that was that high. And then over time it did go lower, and I think right now I'm at like a 720, 730, so it did drop. But I'm still considered good in many credit reports. Like if you look on Experian, or if you have a Discover card, you can check your FICO score through that. So I think just keeping it above 700 will be a lot. It'll catch the eyes of loaners or lenders, and they'll be able to help you out a lot more and see that you're able to handle credit.
The FHA loan, you need to work 2 years, be part-time, and you have to submit 6 pay stubs. But then if you're full-time, you have to be there, like have a job offer, only be there for like 30 days, and you'll really only have to submit 2 pay stubs. And with that, you're like, why is it such a drastic difference? So, a little tip, you can use education to use as work history, well, employment history. So basically, let's say you just graduate college and you did not have to work during college, like you just got a part-time job, like for each semester, like maybe at the library, at the coffee shop, it doesn't matter. So you can use your 4 years of being in school, or even your like associates. I'm pretty sure it's just whatever schooling. Yeah. So any type of schooling, then you just say that you're just now getting into a full-time position because you're obviously available, you're not in school. And so that's the reason why it has to be like the 30 days instead of the 2 years, because you can use your education to say, I was in school and I'm just now going into a full-time job. So technically I do have, like, in our case, 4 years underneath my belt of working. And that would be considered, if you're like, let's say you're not like, oh, I don't have 6 pay stubs to submit to my job. It's okay. You can use the education. But like the main thing is whether you're full-time or part-time. And if you're part-time, do not be quitting your jobs if you're trying to buy a house. Like, stay at your job as long as you can. And I was going to say you can quit after you get the house. But
I mean, yeah, definitely at least stay throughout the whole process until your name is on that dotted line.
Yes.
Then stay at that job. But if you do get a better opportunity, definitely just wait until after the fact.
Yeah.
It'll just save a lot of hassle. Because that's what we went through, and luckily the schooling was able to save us because of that. Because that was at least 2 years of, like, technically working but studying.
So the reason why we were kind of focusing on credit is because that's really where you're going to get the best interest rates. And that's with everything. With a car loan, if you have no credit and you're going to put some money down, they're going to like give you a 10% interest rate. When if you have like a 700 credit score, oh, you can get like a 5% interest rate on. Sorry, don't even talk to me about cars. I don't have a car loan, so I'm not really qualified in that aspect. It's just more of like an example as to like the difference in like what you're gonna get with your credit score. So together, I was not able to qualify for the loan on my own, and Aiden was not able to.
Definitely was not able to with a lower credit score.
With the lower credit score, and you were just now picking up another shift, and so we went through a big hassle with that.
I had switched jobs during I think the July-August time frame, and so that definitely makes sure that you are with a job at least 1 year. Our agent was able to help us out immensely, and he was very understanding of that. But changing jobs during the time of getting anything, whether it's a mortgage, a car payment, the lender is just wanting to make sure that you can have a reliable income. And if you're not at a job for too long, or if you're only working part-time even, for some lenders, like our first couple ones, that can be a red flag for some. So just kind of making sure that you're in the right financial part of a job, and you haven't switched like 3 or 2 times in the last like month. Just making sure that you have actual job stability would be a big factor that I found out. And this is a thing on your credit reports too, but your debt to income ratio, I would suggest paying off any, like if you do have a credit card or some other payments, just making sure that you have low credit on your credit cards compared to your bank accounts, because if your credit usage is too high at the time, they're going to see your debt to income ratio, and that's going to be a lot higher than what they're going to want. So just making sure you aren't overloading on the credit cards, especially if you are under like a car payment or some other kind of payment like that, that can increase that ratio, and they're wanting to look for, oh, their income is going to outweigh their debt, and just making sure that that's not overloaded would be a kind of crucial thing too.
That's a really good point. We don't have any, I mentioned I was paying for school out of pocket. He has a scholarship, so we have no student loans as well. And that's actually beneficial in our specific area, because we are in it's like for low income families to like move into the city and everything. So we are part of a program where you have to make a certain income. So to be transparent, Aiden and I, our income was like $40,000 a year, and that's not much. Like, I'm pretty sure that's less than like a high school teacher.
It was definitely enough to qualify though.
It was enough to qualify.
Because what was that, like 50,000 or something?
For this specific house, if there was gonna be 2 incomes, you needed to have less than, I think, $47,000.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then, but you had to have more than 30 something.
Yeah, it was a range rather than like less than or equal to.
So then with that, we were also, I guess, I forgot to say, we didn't put we didn't owe anything at closing. So that was with our credit. That was with the home buyer program. They gave us money towards closing costs. They gave us $3,000 towards closing costs, and then our loan lender, gave us like $1,000. So we didn't owe anything. Actually, that was put towards our mortgage, so we don't have to pay for the house until December. So that's really grateful. So that will give us more time to save up money / don't spend as much to get prepped up for those oncoming bills. Moving on, last part of like the logistics is like, why did we buy a house now in 2022? Why are you buying a house when you know there's a recession coming? You know the interest rates for like mortgages are terrible. Like, why did you do that?
Because I have been renting since 2019. And just knowing that all that money that I put down for deposits, pet fees, rent, that was just money that I'm not getting back. That was no investment. I was just paying my dues to live at that apartment. Now with a house, it is similar, but the money we're putting towards is going towards paying the mortgage. So that's money that we're putting into this house to be able to own it, rather than putting it into an apartment just to live there. So it is definitely more of an investment. I wanted to buy this house because it was just such a find. Like, it was such a lucky find compared to the other houses that you've probably seen in the other videos. Like, this was just like a gold mine, honestly. Being able to get the 4 bedrooms, the 2.5 baths, like a much shorter time to downtown, closer to campus for me since I'm still on campus. We're going to be close, like I said, to downtown, more job opportunities if we do change. There's just a lot of benefits to this house specifically than our other ones had, for the quality that we would be getting in a brand new house for people to live in it.
For me, the reason why I wanted to buy a house right now, I simply just wanted to. If you go back to like other videos, if you want to like learn more about me, literally at the beginning of that vlog, I was like, I just want to buy a house, so I'm gonna go message my realtor and like see what's out there, you know. So the original plan, like this original idea, was just something on a whim for me. I also agree it's a better investment than getting an apartment. And you guys probably know, if you're a returning subscriber, you know that we just got an apartment in May. So why did you just sign a lease and it was for 18 months and only live there for 5, you know? What's that clicking, you know? So with that, I actually didn't really want to live in an apartment. I mentioned to Aiden I kind of wanted to buy a house a little bit earlier, like when we were talking about moving in together. But at that time as well, I wasn't really seeing anything that was in like a reasonable price range. I was looking at $300,000 houses. That's a little bit much. So I definitely, like, I understand like why we didn't do this in the original plan. And then also he was with roommates, so then if we waited, then we would have had to either, like, he would have had to break his lease, or we would still have to go an entire year of like waiting to see what house is going to be on the market. Also, like I said, this was a good find. Like, I cannot believe I'm in like a brand new built house, you know. I've been to, if you know like Fisher Homes or MI Homes, like I would walk through those houses, I'm like, yes, this is where I want to be at. And I literally like manifested me to have that, you know. So like I'm just absolutely flabbergasted. Like, this was a house, and I didn't even like see this house on Zillow. It was my realtor that pointed it out to us. And so it was just more of like such a lucky steal. Like, you had to sign it, you know. You're crazy for not buying the house if you just let this, the price is good, the size is good, the area is good, you know. It's just, I don't know.
I was nervous at first because I thought this was going to be a very bad choice, because on Zillow they only had a picture, like one singular picture of the exterior, and I was like, oh, this is about to look so banged up in the inside. We're about to have to put like at least 10 grand more into building it. But then once we actually toured it and saw the inside's brand new, It was just wild.
And then also with the investment, we can pay off our loan, or the money that we earn from selling this house in like a few years time, we can put that towards a better house, like a Fisher home where we have 3 stories, or I don't know. Anyways, we can put that money towards another house, and basically we can pocket some extra money, or we can keep this in our name and we can use it as a rental because we are next to multiple colleges, and rent this out. Heck, my sister's even gonna start college, so maybe if she needed to rent it, so she'll have a bedroom and then she can get like 3 other roommates, you know. This could be some more income for both Aiden and I, so I just thought it's just smarter to do it. And like I mentioned, I know I kind of am on the fence right now. I'm kind of like regretting like kind of doing this early because we did throw out a lot of money towards the apartment. So like it's not as much as we would have for our entire lease, but all those fees that we had to pay to end our lease, it was kind of much, you know. And so like I kind of feel bad, but then I think at the end of the day, we got the better end of the deal. Like we're gonna have more money than we thought by getting this property.
Yeah. Because since we signed a longer lease, the monthly payments were lower. So like generally we did not pay as much as we could have if we were to just do a year lease. But since we did an 18-month, those rent payments went down. But we did end up having to fork over a good chunk of money at the end to compensate for our early leave, but definitely wouldn't have been close to what we would have paid if we decided to stay there. And this house could have possibly been sold. So I think like when I think about that, if we could have went earlier, later, whatever, I think it was a perfect time. Because you've already told the story about how this was already
No, we're gonna get to that.
Okay, good. It's a good story.
Okay, so that's really the end of the logistics part of it, like why, what did we get, and how did we get. The second part of the video, we're gonna really explain our perspective of the buying process, because it is not the normal I learned. We learned so much. Like actually we didn't even do any research to like start. We just said we're gonna get a house, and I had this idea, like yes, it was gonna take time, but like I could have gotten it within a month, but it took us 3 months to get this house. So
did you have any tips or things that we've learned that you wanted to say, like any like final thoughts on the logistics? Like things you wish you would have done better now that you know?
I don't really have anything else.
And then one last thing about the logistics before we go into the second part would be definitely keep open communication with whoever your lender is. See what you can get. You can look at what you would like to get, like see like what price ranges you're looking for, and then talk to your lender, see what you're able to do within your own means, and then you're able to look at a lot of different things in now knowing what you can get.
Okay, so our entire home buying process,
Part 2.
it was a struggle. We started in July, like I mentioned earlier, and it was actually on Aiden's birthday.
Which is really funny if you think about it. It started and then ended on birthday. But we'll get to that.
So we looked at 3 houses that day on his birthday. And I'm going to be honest, they are nothing. Those houses were nothing like this one. Day one, we looked at 3 houses, and I don't even know why I even said this. Because knowing me, I go back and forth on like what I want. But I literally applied for a loan because, well, I wanted to get pre-qualified to even see what we were able to get. And we literally were going to be like, okay, we're going to do this. And the third house, that we looked at, we were like, oh, we're just going to put an offer in on this house. And if I'm going to be honest, I would have regretted getting that house. That is nothing like this.
I will say, the only thing that house doesn't have here is a garage and a fence already built.
Yes.
Because this house does not have a garage. It just has a little slot of gravel and then no fences. But that's it. That's the only thing that house had that this one doesn't.
Yeah, so I applied for a loan, and then eventually the loan kind of fell through just because I think it was with the job.
Well, I thought I wasn't on that one, though. Was that just the one from you? And then we found out?
No, I put you on there eventually. But, like, originally it was just me, and they were like, no, you're going to need to add, like, your co-borrower.
And then I was added. Yeah. But it still
fell through.
Because I had switched jobs during that time. And was not at my new one for enough time.
So, his birthday's July 23rd. So, we moved. So, moving on from that, we're like, okay, that one fell through. We're gonna try another lender. And I think this time we went through PNC. And everything was looking spick and span.
They were really working with us. They seemed like they really wanted to get us a loan.
They were like, you need this, this, and this. And then even, like, with us being so young, like, it's probably, like, I think he was more encouraging us, but he was like, yeah, good job on getting this, this, and this. And, like, you guys are, like, really on top of it. Like, that's really good. So we were in love with PNC. Yeah,
so that first one was for that 3-bedroom... a blue house that we were looking at first, but the PNC one was for this house that we're in now.
So on July 28th, I looked at this house. I was by myself. It was just me and my realtor, and we walked in, and I literally said, Aiden's gonna love this house. Absolutely. Like, this is Aiden's house. Like, Aiden's never been, like, you never really had
I've never been in a house that had upstairs or this much space. Yeah. I lived in a 2-bed, 1-bath house my entire life until I moved.
And I was just like, I can definitely see, like, this is our family home, but I know Aiden's gonna love this house. So I told Aiden couldn't see it. He was, like, just working.
I was working.
No, he was out of town. He was out of town, and he wasn't able to see it. So I was like, Aiden, like, this is the house. Do you want me to send in an offer? Aiden was out of town, and I was like, this is the house. Do you trust me? He's like, I trust you.
Because you would send me videos and like stuff like that, and the fact that it had 2 stories, 4 beds, 2.5 baths.
And he was like, yeah. So we sent in an offer, right? You wanna explain the offer situation?
Yeah. So PNC, what we had thought, we had gotten so close. We were literally almost setting up a sign date, and then they pulled out. And said that we no longer qualified. Like, we were walking into the door, and then the door slammed shut.
Thanks. What? I gotcha.
And that was, I would say, primarily due to my switching of jobs, because PNC didn't consider student time.
No, he said that he might be able to, but he was like, no, you guys aren't graduated yet. Yeah. I can't do this. I can't. It's out of my hand. I can't. But to add to that, I think what happened was the seller of this house, he's kind of, like, my realtor said, like, he was kind of, like really blunt. And I think my lender was, like, kind of like, oh, this dude's, like, super rude, and I don't want to work with him anymore. And I think that's part of the reason why he didn't make anything
more efforts to work with us.
Yeah. So,
but anyways, that certainly didn't help. The fact that I was switching to a new job and had 1 pay stub. Yes. In my part-time position. Yes. So that fell through. That was a nightmare.
Yeah. By the time we got a second lender, then this 4-bedroom house went pending. And we're like...
And our realtor told us that was somebody different.
Yeah, and we were confused because actually we didn't hear anything back about our original offer. And I just checked Zillow. And I didn't hear anything from my realtor, actually. I checked Zillow, and I'm like, why does this say pending? And I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I haven't heard anything. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. It looks like someone, like, made, it wasn't, like, money-wise offer. This program that's in our area, they do first come, first serve. So they'll go through the process with the first person that applies. If something falls through with, like, the grants and, like, their income and everything, they'll go to the next person. So basically, they said, sorry, you didn't, like, make it before this other person. So I was like, dang. So
super disappointed. We were so happy to get this, but then we decided we could mope around, but then we still wanted to get a house despite losing this one. So we started looking around, looking at houses, but now after looking at this one, nothing really held up except for down the street there was another house, same builder too. So it's because that one was that brand new.
Yeah, same builder and same seller.
Same builder, same seller. So it would have been same designs. It was still a very nice house, except it was only 2-bed, 2-bath.
Yes.
So we were definitely cutting down on space.
Also the bedroom, like the main bedroom, was concave, so like that even made it smaller. 8 and 6 foot. You know,
yeah,
he's gonna need.
I legit could only stand vertical in like basically the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And that was also just not awesome. But we decided that was honestly
like
also the best that we would find.
Yep.
For the pricing that we were wanting and the areas and the fact that we still loved the designs.
Mm-hmm.
It had a very nice open living room, very high ceilings,
Mm-hmm.
and we would have had a loft area and just there were a lot of factors that went into it. So we decided, let's just go ahead and get this one. And so we put down an offer. We sent that through.
And we didn't hear anything back. So we were
Silence.
what's going on?
And we were just so down because of the red house, this house,
yes.
and then we tried to do the other one, nothing.
And so
it was rough. It was really hard.
Yeah, I was really frustrated because I'm like, we just ruined our credit score at what cost?
For nothing.
You know, because we could have gotten. We were even talking about getting new cars too, and I'm just like, I interrupted like our original plan, and we didn't get anything out of this.
Yeah, so it was just a very low morale point.
But we got a text message stating that the 4-bedroom house that we are currently in is back on the market. And I was like, okay, hold on. I do have to say this. And this is like, you don't have to believe in what I'm about to say, but I have to just be honest on what I did. So on TikTok, you know, the tarot readers, the astrology type people on TikTok, right? They said, okay, July 28th, I'm pretty sure that was the day. It was like, this is the best time to like manifest your like what you want in your life, right? I wrote like, basically, I just wrote down, I was like, I would love to say to like, basically if I was talking to my mom, I would love to say, Mom, I got the 4-bedroom house. Like, we are getting a 4-bedroom house at 21, like, well, I was 20 at the time. So at 20 years old, I bought a house, you know? So I literally was thinking, like, in my head, like, all day, I was like, oh my gosh, I want this house. After we still knew that it was pending offer, but I was like, no, somehow, some way, I'm gonna get this freaking house, you know? So you can believe in that, you don't have to, but just the coincidence of someone was literally in the process of moving here, and then the day I do that, this next day, I got that message, you know, like, oh my God.
It fell through, and then not only that, we had another chance to get the house.
Yes, yes. So we then scrambled to finding another lender to make sure like everything was good. Well, we did it with our the 2-bedroom house, but that one's cheaper. And so we were like making sure, like, are you sure like you are not going to fall through with us like PNC did? So then we are getting like, we're heading towards the like the home stretch, and we have our closing date set up. We did an inspection on the house, and we were like, oh, could you please, we just said fix everything, honestly. I paid $300, well, Aiden paid $300 for an inspection, and I would like, I would like everything fixed. So that took them forever and a day to say what they were gonna fix and what they weren't gonna fix. And I was like, honestly, like, oh, I'm hoping they're fixing it right now, and that's the reason why they're not saying anything. Or they're like, they're trying, I don't know. I was just like, I'm confused. Did they, like, did something happen? Like, is something really, really wrong with the house? So I was confused on that part, but it was okay. After that, we said October 3rd is our closing date. So it was August, like, 20th to like the 30th. We were like, oh my God, it's coming
It's happening up. And we were just so ready to be done. We had already, like, we were just on razor's edge at this point, just because with the lender pulling out, us getting a second chance, just so many factors that went into us just being ready to have our names on that lease or on that mortgage agreement.
And then what happened? And
then they canceled the 3rd closing. There were some factors they decided to say, but other than that, they were keeping us pretty much in the dark.
Yeah,
no real like solid explanation as to why.
They canceled our closing date, and I was like, are they allowed to do this? I just signed legal binding documents
that
saying
said,
like
October
this house
3rd would be the date.
And so I was actually talking with the title company, and I was like, I have not heard anything about. So this is kind of like bad on my end. I had no idea what our estimate like mortgage was gonna cost until like the last day, and I'm pretty sure you're supposed to know that when you apply.
Maybe.
I don't know if there's something online that I just missed or whatever. I just never received that, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna owe at closing. Like, I need to know that because Aiden and I don't have a shared account, so I was gonna have to transfer money. That was gonna take 3 days, and it's a weekend. Then he's not gonna be able to go to the bank, and I was like, October 3rd is a Monday. We can't do anything over the weekend, so I need to know. Then they said, your closing date was canceled. And I was like, what the actual, like what do you mean? So
just
then
another thing added on to the list of stress.
My realtor, she called me and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like 30 minutes before you sent that email, I was trying to get in contact with the seller because he didn't tell me why he canceled. I was like, what do you mean? He didn't tell you why he canceled? Like what's gonna happen? She's like, I don't know. I'm trying to get in the I'm in the process of working with that. I will message you back later that day. Overall, we had to figure out a time to like reschedule it, and I was like, I had literally my entire like week planned out because it was also October 6th is my birthday, so October 3rd, we're gonna close on the house. On the 5th, I was gonna get my hair done, and on the 6th, we were gonna do a whole bunch of stuff for my birthday, right? I also had to go take my sister to the dentist. So like, I had a whole bunch of, my entire week was planned, and you wanted to ruin it.
Exactly.
But eventually, we figured out a day, and the day was October 6th, so that kind of threw a wrench on everything that day that we had planned.
Yeah, because at first they wanted to make it on your hair appointment.
Yes, on the 5th, and I was like, no.
And you almost wanted to cancel your hair appointment. I was like, no, if they're going to cancel it and not give us a reason, then they need to work with us too.
Yeah.
Because they just canceled, and like you said, you planned out your whole week. Mm-hmm. So we were able to get it pushed onto your birthday, which did kind of stink because we did have a lot of stuff planned, or we were going to plan a lot of stuff, but that took up like half of the day.
Yeah. I'm just glad, overall,
yes,
we got this house finally.
We finally signed it on that day. The nightmare was over.
Yes.
We have the house.
Yeah, it was literally the nightmare before Christmas.
Literally.
It was Christmas Day, and we now have the house, and it's ours. We can go in and out whenever we want, and oh my gosh.
And this whole journey literally started on my birthday and then ended on yours.
Yeah. So.
That could be a coincidence, but I don't know.
I don't know. Was there anything else you would like to say?
I would just say it's better to have too much planned than too little. Definitely when you go into it. Just because of so many factors that can happen. And just being open communication with all your parties. Just talking to with your lenders, talking with your agent, talking with your realtor, whoever is involved with it, just making sure that we're all on the same page and stuff doesn't happen where you're just out of the loop, somebody's out of the loop.
Well, thank you for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any more questions, please leave them down in the comments. I will try to get to them. If you want me to do, or if you want both of us to do like a financial video about like how did we get our credit up and everything, like how much are we actually like saving. If you want the nitty-gritty details of everything, just let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Of course.
Bye.